Hello, Clinic Review family. It's Dr. Sharon with Clinic Reviews. Today we're going to be going back to the Blue Book. The Blue Book is right here. The Blue Book was published by Mark Klimek. You can get it on Amazon, and it's a bunch of facts that you need to know. So if you're wondering, what content do I have to know for the NCLEX? You need to know the Blue Book. And this is on page 46. It's under Health Promotion and Maintenance. So let's go ahead and get started. Hello, my friends. It's Dr. Sharon with Clinic Reviews, the home of the very best NCLEX review in the entire universe, in my opinion. You know, Clinic Reviews is the organization that runs this YouTube channel, and we do a phenomenal job preparing students to take NCLEX, but we also offer this YouTube channel for those of you who want a little extra practice doing questions or who don't have the money to pay for our Clinic Review, because really our goal is to see you pass NCLEX and to get some phenomenal nurses out there taking care of patients. So you can go to clinicreviews.com to sign up for our online on-demand 21 plus hour NCLEX review. You can also, let's see, what else can you sign up for? Small group tutoring. You can meet me live in person over Zoom if you want to sign up for our small group tutoring. And we also have a streaming service where you can find all of our YouTube videos plus additional videos through our streaming service. So, all right, so today we're going to do elimination, specifically bowel elimination. This sort of general information, and y'all, you really have to know stuff like this. This is fundamentals, and you have to know fundamentals in order to pass NCLEX. So if you have to choose between studying questions that are more complicated or questions that are less complicated, I would definitely study the less complicated questions, because those are the ones that you have to get right to pass NCLEX. So let's go ahead and get started. A nurse is caring for a client who has a stool specimen ordered to test for occult blood. Which instruction is most important to give the client prior to the test? So testing for occult blood. Avoid eating red meat for 3 days before the test. Collect urine and stool together for the sample. Fast for 12 hours before the test. Save all stools for 24 hours in one container. So I know that B is wrong. You definitely don't want to mix samples in one container. And you don't have to fast. This is not blood work you have to fast for, but not stool samples. And then D, save all stool samples for 24 hours in one container. No, we need one sample. That's all we need, not 24 hours worth. And so A, the question is, so if I rule out, because I rule out wrong answers to find the right answer. So if I rule out B, C, and D, the question is A possibly right? And I have heard that red meat can give you a false positive for occult blood. And since I have heard that before, it's not something that I'm like super expert on, but I have heard that before. And so I'm going to go ahead and pick A. All right, the nurse is interpreting a client's stool colors. Which findings indicate an abnormal stool? Black tarry stool, clay-colored stool, green stool in a 2-day-old infant, bright red blood coating the stool, or brown stool. Okay, so black tarry stool indicates bleeding, and it's digested blood. So black tarry stool is digested blood, which means it's an upper GI bleed, most likely. And the vocabulary word for that is melena, M-E-L-E-N-A, melena. Clay-colored stool. Clay-colored stool is when there's an absence of bile in the stool and it turns clay-colored. So that's abnormal. Green stool in a 2-day-old infant is actually normal. That's a normal color for a 2-day-old infant. Bright red blood coating the stool, that is fresh blood in the stool. That is called hematochezia. So A is melena, D is hematochezia. And then that's abnormal, obviously. And then brown stool is the color. It's actually the bile in the stool that turns it brown. So the only abnormal ones here are A, B, and D. A client reports black, sticky, foul-smelling stools, which is the nurse's priority interpretation. Client ate a large amount of spinach, possible upper GI bleed, fatty malabsorption, iron supplement side effect. So, black, sticky, foul-smelling stool. So that's usually old blood, so it doesn't have anything to do with spinach. Possible upper GI bleed. So that's when it's gone through the whole GI tract and now it is digested blood. So that B is a good answer. Fatty malabsorption, no. That's not what it looks like. Fatty malabsorption, when you have too much fat in the stool, that actually changes the stool in a different way. Iron supplement side effect, no, that is not an iron supplement side effect. So it's possible upper GI bleed. The nurse is caring for a client with steatorrhea. That is the word for fat malabsorption. So instead of the fat absorbing into the body, it's excreted in the stool. So you have very fatty stools. Which characteristics should the nurse expect? Bulky, pale in color, extremely foul odor, greasy, or pencil thin. So it is going to turn it bulky, so it's going to be larger than normal. It is going to be pale in color, so fat turns it pale in color, steatorrhea. It does have an extremely foul odor, and it is greasy. So if you just think of fat as, and I mean like if cooking fat, right? Cooking fat is greasy. And it's also pale in color usually, right? Cooking fat's usually pale in color. So that sort of maybe seems just common sense, B and D. And then pencil thin. Pencil thin usually means there's an obstruction of some kind. So that is not steatorrhea. So A, B, C, and D are the correct answers. A client's stool specimen comes back positive for occult blood. Which action is most important? Reassure the client it is likely diet related. Encourage more fluids and fiber. Notify the healthcare provider for further evaluation. Repeat the test immediately. All right, so is it wrong to notify the healthcare provider? It is not wrong to notify the healthcare provider. However, if there's something you can do before notifying the healthcare provider, then you should do that. Okay, if there's something you can do before notifying the healthcare provider, you can do that. So if it's positive for occult blood, we are concerned that there's bleeding in the stool, or blood in the stool, or bleeding in the GI tract. So is it appropriate for us to assume it's something else? Like, can we assume it's something other than bleeding? Could it be something other than bleeding? Sure, it could be red meat in the diet, right? A false positive. So is it appropriate for me as the nurse? Because I'm not the diagnostician, so is it appropriate for me to assume that? And the answer is no, that's outside my scope of practice. So it's actually outside my scope of practice to interpret the test as being diet related. So A is outside my scope of practice, so I can't do that. Encourage more fluids and fiber. Well, I could encourage more fluids and fiber once the doctor determines that there's a reason for the bleeding that's related to fluids and fiber. Okay, so once the doctor says, well, they're constipated and it's causing some irritation in the lining of the GI tract, or they have GERD, and they're having some bleeding in the stomach, right? I mean, something that's maybe related to something other than serious bleeding, then maybe I can encourage more fluids and fiber. But it's inappropriate to do that right now because I don't know what's going on. If it's bleeding, the doctor needs to determine that. So C is an appropriate option. Notify the healthcare provider for further evaluation because I don't know why it's positive. D, repeat the test immediately. So don't ever choose to repeat the test on the NCLEX because the NCLEX is a perfect world. So what it means that NCLEX is a perfect world is it means that the data that you're given is accurate. Whether the patient reports it, it's accurate, or whether it's a data result, a test result, it's accurate. So that's why you don't repeat tests on the NCLEX. In real life, if you want to repeat the test, that's totally up to you. Okay, that's totally up to you. But on the NCLEX, you don't repeat tests. So I can cross off A, B, and D because they're not appropriate right now. Certainly they're not most important right now. And the provider is going to have to decide why it's positive for occult blood. So C is the correct answer. The nurse reviews the chart of a client with hematochezia. Hematochezia is another vocabulary word you have to know. It means fresh blood in the stool or coating the stool. So it's lower GI bleeding, maybe rectal bleeding. Which finding would the nurse expect to see documented? Black sticky stool, bright red blood mixed with the stool, that's hematochezia. Pale bulky stool, that's steatorrhea. Yellow frothy stool, I don't have a name for that. So B I know is hematochezia, so that's the correct answer. A nurse is caring for a client taking iron supplements. Which stool description indicates an expected finding rather than pathology? So we've all heard that stool, maybe you haven't, but most nurses have heard that iron turns the stool black. So is that true? Because isn't that the same as black tarry stool? And the answer is no. It's not pure black. Black and tarry, so that's not the right answer. And loose, pale, bulky stool, steatorrhea. It's a dark greenish black stool. That's what iron does. It turns it a dark greenish black, and it's not tarry and it's not foul smelling. And obviously it's not bright red residue on the toilet tissue. So that C is the correct answer. The provider orders a stool culture. The nurse explains that this test is used to identify which conditions: parasitic infection, bacterial infection, malabsorption of fat, viral infection, blood in the stool. So the word culture means they're going to put it in a petri dish and they're going to see what grows. And the only things that grows are infections, right? So viruses, bacteria, parasites, ovum, those kind of things will grow in a petri dish. But fat doesn't grow in a petri dish and blood doesn't grow in a petri dish. So even if you don't know what specifically a stool culture tests for, you should pick the ones that are infections, because that's what a culture is. It's growing something in a petri dish and then testing to see what it is after it grows a little bit. So the correct answers are A, B, and D, because these are the infections. A client who has not had a bowel movement in 4 days reports abdominal distension and pain rated at 7 out of 10. Which intervention should the nurse perform first? All right, so it sounds like constipation. I'm unhappy about the pain. That bothers me. And 4 days is a long time to go without a bowel movement. So administer the prescribed stool softener, notify the healthcare provider, assess bowel sounds and abdominal shape, or encourage increased oral fluids. So a lot of nursing students know the prioritization strategy of ADPI, always assess first. Okay, so here's the rule. It's not so much that you always assess first, but you assess if you don't have enough information to take action. Okay, I don't have enough information to take action. They haven't had a bowel movement in 4 days, and pain is rated at 7 out of 10. This is concerning to me. I'm not ready to call the healthcare provider yet because I need to have more information. So I really want to assess, do they have bowel sounds? Are they distended? Like C is a great answer in this case because I don't have enough information to take action. It's too soon to administer the prescribed stool softener. These are pretty significant findings, especially if they have absent bowel sounds and a distended abdomen. I'm not going to do a stool softener for that. Like, I'm going to call the healthcare provider for that. But if they have good bowel sounds and their abdomen is soft and non-distended, then I may go ahead and encourage oral fluids and give the stool softener. But I have to do an assessment first. Again, assessment is the first thing you do when you don't have enough information to take action. A post-op client who is receiving opioid analgesics reports no bowel movement for 3 days, which is not that unusual when someone's on opioid analgesics. Which nursing action should the nurse take first? Administer a prescribed laxative, encourage ambulation, offer warm fluids, teach about stool softeners for home use. So here we don't have an option to do assessment. Okay, so I'm going to have to do something because there's no assessment option. So which are appropriate interventions? Well, prescribed laxative is an appropriate intervention. Ambulation is an appropriate intervention. Maybe teaching about stool softeners at home, but that's a maybe. I know A and B are appropriate, so I'm going to cross off D. I mean, fluids is okay. To give fluids, do they have to be warm? I don't think they have to be warm. So C might be okay, but it's not like my first option, I don't think. So I'm going to cross off C and D. So the question is, would I give a prescribed fluid laxative and then encourage ambulation, or would I encourage ambulation and then give a prescribed laxative? So another prioritization strategy that I've heard students tell me is that you do the least invasive thing first. So the least invasive thing first does work only when there's 2 appropriate interventions. Okay, you've already decided these are both appropriate interventions, and these are both appropriate interventions because it's not surprising they haven't had a bowel movement post-operatively. So the anesthesia slowed down their guts and it probably paralyzed the bowel for a few hours, and then the opioids decreased peristalsis. So this is an expected finding. So when I have an expected finding, I need to treat that. So I have 2 appropriate interventions. So I have 2 appropriate interventions, so I am going to do the least invasive first. But remember, only choose the least invasive first when both interventions are equally appropriate. Okay, so that is it. That was short and sweet. I hope that was helpful to you. Thank you for being a part of our Clinic Review family. Don't forget to study your fundamentals, y'all. Okay, don't forget to study your fundamentals. We love you. We are hoping that you pass on NCLEX. Let me know in comments sometime if you did. All right, take care, and we'll see you later.